አደባባይ ሚዲያ ለወገንተኝነት ጀርባውን የሰጠ ጊዜያዊ ጥቅምን አምቢኝ ብለው የዘመመን ሊያቀና እውነትና እውቀትን አስከትሎ ኢኮኖሚያዊና መንፈሳዊ መረጃዎችን እንካችሁ ይላል። ትኩስ ዜናዎች፣ ዘጋቢ ፊልሞች፣ ጥልቅ ትንታኔዎች በአደባባይ ሚዲያ ይቀርባሉ። ራእያችን ጊዜውን ያማከለና ዘመኑን የዋጀ በእውነት የነጠሩ መረጃዎችን በእውቀት ደግፎ ለሀገራችን ብሎም ለዓለም ሕዝብ ማዳረስ ነው። አድሬሳችን አደባባይ info@gmail.com፣ በዌብሳይታችን www.adebabai.com። ያግኙን፣ ይርዱን። የሁላችንም ስለሆነች ኢትዮጵያ በአደባባይ እንዘግባለን። አደባባይ ሚዲያ።
አደባባይ ሚዲያ የኔ ነው። አደባባይ ሚዲያ የኔም ነው።
አደባባይ ሚዲያ የኔ ነው።
አደባባይ ሚዲያ የሁላችንም ነው።
የኛ ቤተሰብ አደባባይ ሚዲያን ይመለከታል። የእናንተስ?
Do your parents watch አደባባይ ሚዲያ?
Watch, follow, subscribe and help አደባባይ። አደባባይ ሚዲያ ለወገንተኝነት ጀርባውን የሰጠ
Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us. This is Adebabay Media Viewer Digest program. My name is EOTC and I'll be your host for today. Today we have come here to talk about the state of our Orthodox Church across the globe. We've invited guests from an organization that has been doing amazing work in Pan-African unity and how that all looks at. So they're going to be here talking to us about the work they've been doing, how we can connect with them, and any other information that they can share with us. In the meantime, I'd like to invite everyone to share and like this conversation with your family and friends, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us, today we're going to be talking about the state of the Orthodox Christian Church across the globe. Our guests today is from Orthodox Cognate PAGE, a United Orthodox Christian Witness and a Pan-African Society. It's an NGO established in 2007. They cover multiple topics and discuss issues that are part of our Orthodox world. My guest is Donn George. Thank you for being here with us today. How are you?
Doing all well. Looking forward for this particular interview with Adebabay Media.
Thank you. I know we've met over Telegram for quite some time, and I've been following the work that you guys have been doing. And I'm really excited for this conversation and introduce our audience to the work that you all be doing. But before we start on the organization, could you tell us a bit about yourself, your Orthodox journey, how you're brought up, and also your involvement within this organization?
Okay, thank you for that first question. When it comes to my particular journey, Orthodox journey, I am a follower of, I belongs to Malangara Orthodox Church, which is the Orthodox Church in India, local Orthodox Church in India. Yeah. And I started my Orthodox. If you really ask the question, how was my journey? I started from my church with its Sunday school and all other spiritual organization that enriched me. And now with those enrichment, I have now started to work with this particular organization, Orthodoxy Cognate PAGE, where I am able to explore more about the Orthodoxy and to have a better and safe journey in this Orthodox world.
Thank you. It's always nice to meet someone from our sister churches because I think even for me growing up, I always thought like being Orthodox was like an Ethiopian thing because we have such a strong culture and tradition around it and history around it that I did not really get exposed to the other sister churches across. We knew Egypt has, Orthodox community there because of the history they have with our church. So it's always exciting to meet and see other rites as well. So thank you for sharing that with us. As part of, I guess, the start of our conversation, what does Pan-Orthodox mean to you? What does that movement mean to you?
As you asked me about Pan-Orthodoxy, I will tell that Pan-Orthodoxy is the heart and soul of Orthodoxy because that's need of the era. As you know, Orthodox churches are divided by local churches or the national churches, particularly each nation or each nation have its own Orthodox church. That's the common ideology that we believe against the one that's spread by Catholic Church, which stand for United Administration. But in our belief, it's all about local churches. So we have a lot of churches that are divided as Oriental and Byzantine, particularly into two families, that of Oriental and Byzantine. By telling Oriental, I mean the Eastern Orthodox churches, particularly. If you take examples of Eastern Orthodox churches, then it will be like Russian Orthodox Church, that's much famous, Serbian Church, Constantinople Patriarchate, Greek Orthodox Church, and all those Eastern Orthodox Church, other than that of our Oriental family. In Oriental family, we are 16 numbers. So the need of Pan-Orthodoxy, that's the main point here.
Yeah.
Whenever we go to social media or those type of medias or even in person, if you go and meet some Eastern Orthodox believers or faithfuls, they will say that you are schismic or you are not true Orthodox. So they believe in those historical divide that happened years ago. And still, those historical divide between Eastern and Oriental churches has made a big wound inside us. And that wound has swelled us, has deepened its own area, and developed into a particular thing like that of hatred and stigma between Orthodox faithfuls. Like brothers are fighting each other in mainly in social media. You can say this in social media, wherever you go, you can see some post of Eastern Orthodox Church and Oriental, some priest or believers standing together. Then there will be a comment like, "Oh, why you are standing with a person who is against your own religion or your faith?" So these type of stigma or these type of deep rooted divisions or hatred makes the importance of pan-orthodoxy, where it don't mean that all churches come under one particular leader, but it means that all churches can join together. It can unite its voice, and give a common, or give a joint witness to the world. In deeper, as we go into pan-orthodox, is the need of the time to cut down the intense disparity and stigma between the families. That's the main need. So we found that there is a lack of some platforms for the same. So pan-orthodoxy or the pan-orthodox movement stand for those type of platform, to build platform for people to come together and talk together and find the differences that are much smaller, and to find those commonalities that are in common, and that's greater than those differences that our families are having. So pan-orthodoxy is all about unity or oneness among local Orthodox churches throughout the world.
Yeah, I love that. And I think as part of the work that you do in OCP, I have seen, even from the short amount of time that I've been introduced to you guys' work, even knowing about the other churches, right? Their day-to-day activities, the news that comes out of it, the different kind of conversation the different churches are having, it kind of makes me realize, right, and see that we all kind of have the same struggles that we're working through, and the same, especially with the modern and us having an ancient faith and trying to navigate that world as well. And everybody's, having that transition and an issue with that transition and trying to figure it out. So it's really beautiful to be able to say, like, you know what, we're one, we have the same struggles, we have the same faith. There might be some, issue, like some translations and such that we may not align 100%, but by the end of the day, we're the closest we have to the faith of Orthodoxy. So in that,
even the theological differences that we have, that's only in words. If you go in deeper about that basic principles, you can see that that's not a real difference. That's also a point for unity, those theological stands too.
Yeah, this reminds me, I used to go to a Greek church when I was back on campus, and I was really curious about, because I knew we were not in communion, so I had, I just wanted to figure out why. And I remember having the conversation with the father of the church there, and after a while, he's like, "Oh, this is our differences," and he was explaining that. And for me, I kind of saw it the same as what my church was teaching, even though we were Oriental. And I was like, "Father, it doesn't make sense. Like, how could we be so different? Like, how could we pretend to be so different when we have the same kind of meanings around this?" And that's something that he said, like, we're working on having a conversation. I know at that time, the Greek church and the Coptic church were in conversation, trying to come back to being in communion, because they realized the differences they have weren't significant enough for them to be of different church bodies. So it's really cool to know these things per se about our Orthodox body. So what does, in this work of pan-orthodoxy, what does your organization do? What is OCP about? Why was it established? And how do you see it fitting into this pan-orthodoxy movement?
So we are going to the main part of the conversation, particularly about our organization. That's OCP stands for Orthodoxy Cognate PAGE. So that itself gives the idea of unity, Orthodoxy Cognate PAGE. So as you have mentioned, our organization was established in 2007. Then it was then its name was Orthodoxy Beyond Limits. The particular reason that we started this organization, or the leaders, then founders of this organization, found this particular OZP was because of we found that pan-Orthodox movements were going on. Like particularly these movements were going on inside Eastern Orthodox churches, like closing up of those divide between the local churches and coming together in Eastern churches. And on the other side, you could also see something like that of Adebabay conference, where Oriental churches came together. But it's just two families coming together, coming inside itself. But there was nothing like joining between these Orthodox churches. So though there were many talks or many proposals that were put down, we found that there is a lack of a particular platform for this one. And we also found that there are people who don't know about what's happening in the other churches. So we found that there is a gap of information too. So this was the inspiration that we had for starting this particular organization. So it started in 2007. Then the name, the present name OCP, that name was taken in the year 2010, and then we got the legal registration. And also our organization is an independent registered organization, which is registered here in India. So we work in the principles of like that of an NGO, where we work. Mainly our activities are like that of an NGO, and we work in that particular principles. And we don't go for any type of evangelization or anything. We particularly concentrate on building up this particular platform for joining up coming of Orthodox world, or unification of Orthodox faithfuls or the believers. So we have from our foundation we have made many platforms like that of few discussion forums and other like that of our media, where we concentrate on journalism, and on the other side we also do research and all. So that's something divided. I think we can talk about that in detail in coming points for the discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. I think let's start with journalism. Something I noticed with your journalism and the way you cover it, it feels like you literally know everything that happens in every single church, as long as it's an Orthodox church. And I've noticed that some of the places that I would never think, an Orthodox church would have influence in, I see reports of them meeting with government officials and ambassadors and such, and you having that kind of information at hand and how quickly you turn it around. Even like there's even moments where I haven't yet read about what's going on in Ethiopia, and then I go to your website, it's like, oh, such and such happened in Ethiopia. And it always amazes me the kind of network you guys have. So could you tell us a bit about that network that you were able to build and how you built it?
Yeah, sure. Mainly about the networking and all, as you come to that. We are having our own delegates or reporters in majority of churches, Orthodox churches. And particularly we have few researchers from few churches also. So we get updates from their side. And in the case of Ethiopia, we have our own delegates there. We have around 3 delegates there, and around as many as reporters also we have. We have many agents who bring up the news to us. So we just there are 2 type of things that we are doing in related to journalism or in news service. We produce an aggregation of news from other patriarchates or other churches, in addition to our own original news that we report. That means the reports or articles that we get. As you are going through some of the news in the screen, as you see that there are a few things about Coptic Church. There are a few things about Romanian Church, Russian Church. As you go to our news or networking system, you can see that we give equal importance to every news or every area. We don't give any particular importance to a particular area where we concentrate. We concentrate on Orthodox churches, and widely we report about all of them. So that's what our networking is all about. Then how we build this. As we started, as I told, we started with some discussion forums. So through discussion forums, we used to get people from other countries or from other churches. So we build it like that. Then we got few researchers from other churches. So still it's going on. It's the process is going on. Day by day, we are getting new delegates or reporters from different part of the world. So that's helped us a lot to bring out the news on time and from every part of the world. And here, when you told this particular thing, I just like to remember a recent comment that came under one of our posts in Facebook. So it says that whatever you do here, this particular news agency will get its information and they will cover everything. So that was a comment like that. And we were really happy to see that comment. That whatever we do here, that will be reported by this particular media. So we like to make that some alterations to that, and we like to say whatever happens in Orthodox world, OCP will catch it and we will report it. That's our principle.
You really do. I've seen, like I said, I've seen so many reports, and something I really appreciate also is not just that the diversity of the kinds of news that you cover, but also how short the articles are. They're sweet to the point. It takes literally 1 or 2 minutes to just be updated, and then you're done. So it doesn't feel like it's a task to catch up on news of what's going on in the Orthodox world. So thank you for your hard work in that.
That's the need of the time. People are in a world where they care a lot about time. So they need to get the things as fast as possible. To read a particular, they don't have time to read a particular article in a law. And if you give it in particular points or as snippets, that will reach them and that will create that information to transmit to other people too.
Yeah. I love that. Another part of your organization I was looking at was the research aspect of it, and you have like an Orthodox Research Academy Center that you focus on looking at different histories and forgotten perspectives of the Orthodox world. Could you tell us a bit about that as well? And I'll continue to show some of the news stories that you guys have published in the last few weeks.
Okay, particularly as you asked about centers, we have 3 particular centers. We have 3 main centers, or maybe you can name it as 3 main centers. One is aligned to another, so you can't count it. So it's particularly 3. And the one you asked about is Center for Orthodox Studies. So there, whatever we do is all about our researchers. They are from different churches. They study about things inside the church. They compare with each other from the church to church. There you can also see some. We have some clergies who are researchers. We have leaders, priests from different churches who are putting up their research articles in it. So there mainly we focus upon the need of academic works related to our particular religion. We find less academic works related to our religion, and through COS, Center for Orthodox Studies, we give importance for those type of academical work than that of this is entirely different one from our news and journalism. So it's divided. It's different from each other. So that's all about this particular COS. As you ask in particular, this is one among our centers, and few of the projects we have some projects like that of collecting or collective information of Orthodox institutions where you can study. So there was one project under COS that was won by one of our researcher. So that's already available there, and I think there you can see information of each and every theological academy or seminary throughout the world, where Orthodox, like throughout the Orthodox world, not the general. We have not added any that related to other faiths or other sects of the Christian church. And in addition, we are planning to develop more on that particular area of research too, as we give importance to research work. As I told, we give than these media, with these media and journalism and all other platforms, we also need this research base or this strong foundation of research. So that's what we mean to that. And as you ask about other areas that we work or the departments that we have different departments for, we have divided departments for each area that we work on. So we have departments like that of external church relations. We have departments like that of public relations and information service. That's the one that they deal with news service and all those things. And you can also see department like that of OCP Foundation, where it works particularly on mutual visits, delegate level visit with Holy Fathers or church administration or those things. And in addition, as you check our area of what we are doing, you can see that we do different things. Like we lobby a lot. We ask the world Orthodox Christian other churches to involve into some particular issues. If there is any issues, we involve into human rights issues. We have ecumenical outreach connections to outside Orthodox world. We have publications where we have published a lot. Research development. Then as you come to, we also promote art and iconography, common history, archaeology, all those. It's really wide thing, but we have divided it into departments so that people are in charge of those departments, and they can do things related to that particular department.
Yeah. And I think that's what gives you such a unique place to really look at the Orthodox Church from a bird's eye view. But let me quickly ask you, because part of the work that you guys do is send delegations to different Orthodox churches and to different countries. And part of that was y'all's delegation, I believe about 4 or 5 years ago, came to Ethiopia and met with the Patriarch of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Could you tell us about what that meeting was about and anything that you want us to know about the discussion that you all had?
Yeah, that particular visit to Ethiopia that happened in 2013. So that was our secretary level meeting. If you go to the last picture there, you can see our former secretary, George Alexander. He was a person who traveled to Ethiopia. And there we also had our research center, our Reverend Father who works with our research center, that is Reverend Father Josie Jacob. He was then working with Addis Ababa University, a Holy Trinity College, and now he's back in India. So these two were part of OCP, and they went to Patriarchate of Ethiopia, and we visited Abuna Matthias, the Patriarch of Ethiopia, and we also have visited a few other Abunas. Through this particular secretary level meeting, we were able to communicate with the followers from Ethiopia then, and we were also able to make some connections with organizations like that of Mehabara Kudishan and a few other organizations there also. And in addition to that, we also then visited Greek Orthodox Diocese of Addis Ababa or Ethiopia, where we visited Archbishop late Petros there. Let his memory be grateful. We also have a similar delegate level or secretary level visit to different places, and we also had some visit to Serbian Patriarchate. And yeah, that delegation level and secretary level visits were going on very well before this pandemic, and this pandemic has made all the issues, and we are not able to move out or travel to any of these places for our communications. Through these visits, we used to share aims of or missions of our organization with them, and we also used to communicate with them what they can do with our organization. And it was really great. We were able to expand our own network through these visits too.
Yeah. I think, and that's that, because you have such a unique position, like I said, in looking at all the information and all the data that's coming out of the Orthodox churches, the different meetings that happen, and the relationship that the churches build with each other, and also, with the government they are part of the country of. What do you, if you have to assess, right? It might be just a tricky question, but if you have to assess, what is the state of the Orthodox Church in general, and what is the state of the Orthodox Church followers?
It's really a tricky and it's really a hard question. If I start to talk about this particular thing, it will be hours and hours to talk about this particular thing that's going on, happening all around the Orthodox world. And but now I will just try to particularly touch on few points so that we can make it short and to reach the people in the correct sense than describing it a lot. So as you check the status of Orthodox Christianity or Orthodox churches throughout the world, you can see that majority of these Orthodox local churches are going well. Though their main problem that Orthodox churches now faces is like that of political interventions that are having in different areas. As you check some churches like that of Montenegro or the Serbian church where it have diocese in Montenegro and all, it's highly politically influenced, and politics is coming into the religion or into the church. That's really dangerous for our religion. That's what I like to make as an introduction.
Yeah.
And if you ask about the places where Orthodox Christian suffers a lot, then I will give the example of Ethiopia, Eritrea, Montenegro, Kosovo, Macedonia, and Ukraine. So these are the few places where I can pick up the examples where Orthodox Christians or the faithfuls are really facing issues. And here I like to mention about our intervention in Ethiopia persecution, which started around 2 or 3 years ago. From then we are having a good lead about the issues from there, and we have also intervened into issues through many methods. We have constantly reported the same to the international media so that they will talk about it. Now all are talking about Ethiopian persecution, but in the first period of these persecutions, no one could see any news about what's happening in Oromia or what's happening in Benishanga Gomus or anything. So we were much keen to bring those newses. There we were also able to cooperate with Russian Orthodox Church and its Department of Ecumenical External Church Relations to make to put forward some intervention into this particular issue of Ethiopian persecution. In addition, we have also done the same with that of Eritrea, where faithfuls are suffering a lot. And recently, we lost the greatest martyr or the greatest hero of Eritrean church, that is Abuna Antonios. Let his good memories be grateful. It was really sad to hear that one Orthodox leader was in house arrest for a long time, and none of the Orthodox Church could do anything materialistic. No one was able to do something in the floor, though there were numerous statements or numerous communications that were happening between the churches, but no one was able to bring up with any official communication about the same. But in this particular issue of Abuna Antonios, for the freedom of Abuna Antonios or the freedom of Christians or Orthodox Christians there in Eritrea, we have also worked a lot through our partnership with Coptic Orthodox Church, British Orthodox Church, and those organization. And yeah, that are the sad side of these issues. And on the positive note, I will also bring you positive information about what's happening in Orthodox world. Before a few years, you couldn't find many Orthodox believers there in North America or nor in South America. And whatever we are hearing nowadays is about development of Orthodox churches and more conversion into Orthodox churches in North America and in South America. What's happening in South America, it's really unique thing that we have not seen in any time in Orthodox world. There are a lot of Catholics or a lot of other believers are coming into Orthodox church and taking up this particular faith. So on one side, we can see that many negatives are happening, and on the other side, the status of Orthodox Christians are also better in some other places.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that about North America, which I'm also observing that even from far. There was this documentary that was on Netflix. They ended up having to remove it because apparently it was deemed political. But it was a whole bunch of pastors, like Protestant pastors, that got together and started looking at the Bible again. And their whole thing is, well, the Bible's not about us. The Bible's about God and who he is, right? You can't use it in a way that the prosperity gospelers are doing. And they start like looking into how the Bible has been interpreted and how they've been teaching it the wrong way, how they've been understanding it the wrong way and such. And the whole time I'm watching, I was like, wow, these people are Orthodox. They don't even know it. And that's been such a beautiful thing to just kind of see that unfold. Again, like when you go to like the Greek church and the Coptic churches and such, because also their services tend to be in English, you see a lot more people there just coming to visit, just kind of being part of that community, just being kind of curious about it. And that's been really awesome to be able to see that as well.
But at the same time, where you see these type of developments in West, but on the other side in this Oriental world, you can see that, or in this Eastern side of the world, you can see that these Protestants or Catholics, they are increasing and they are making much more intrusion into the Orthodox churches and making much more issues, particularly that of neo-Pentecostal groups that are making a lot of issues. Yeah, we are having much positive news from few parts, and generally, as I told, it's a good status now. It's not like that of the period where we used to pray in catacombs. It's not the period like that of we were severely persecuted like that we saw in Armenia and all. It's much better situation, and it's worse in some areas, and it's going on. We are seeing progress day by day.
Yeah. I think me and you had quite a conversation about what's going on in Ethiopia, especially also with our number and our inability to organize and protect ourselves, even with what happened with Mescal Square. And I remember us having that conversation and you saying, how could that be? Like there's, the city is mostly Orthodox. There's a very strong presence of the church. And why is there such an issue around it? Like, how come you guys could not figure that out? Almost like you didn't say it out loud, but that's how I felt. And it really is, it takes us aback a bit as well, because when we're talking about Orthodox Christians being prosecuted in most areas, they happen to be the minority, right? If we're talking about the Copts are not even 10% of the population there. Even, like some European countries and such, it may be that they might have the number, but they literally have no political power or anything like that. When we're looking at what's going on in Eritrea, it's almost like the government decides how the church is going to be run, right? Like I said, the former patriarch was at home arrest, right? So just kind of seeing that and comparing what we're doing in Ethiopia and the things that we need to understand, especially I think with the work that you guys are doing, and just kind of seeing how other churches solve their problems, other churches had figured it out. And another thing also that quite surprised me, again, because I'm seeing it from a very Ethiopian Orthodox lens, is how the patriarch of the Copts, right, he would receive ambassadors that came to visit, the government, and they all stop by and visit him. The EU would send delegations to meet him and such, and just kind of that recognition of his his presence in the country is really beautiful to see. So I loved seeing those things and learning about, you know, the different aspects as well from the way that you guys present information. To add to that, have you, from the work that you do, have you seen Orthodox churches, I know you just touched on it a little bit, in the most unlikeliest places, like the places that you would never think an Orthodox Christian would live, or just places that really surprised you when you found out there's a community of believers?
Will you believe that if I say that there are Orthodox Christians in North Korea and South Korea?
No. See, wow, that's amazing.
That's the thing. So you can see Christians, Orthodox Christians, not just Christians, Orthodox Christians there in North Korea, in South Korea. In majority of Northeast Asia, you can see a lot of Christians, lot of Orthodox Christians, particularly in Japan, in China, where there are restrictions upon the religion, but you can see that China is also having Orthodox churches that are under Russian Orthodox Church. On the other side, in Japan also, you can see that many churches, Orthodox churches are there, and there is an autonomous church there, autonomous church there, Japanese Orthodox Church. And on the other side, you can also see these things that I have already mentioned about South America, in Guatemala, in Argentina, in Peru, everywhere you can see Orthodox Christians nowadays. And on the other side, some places that were used to known as Catholic nations, or area that are much dominated with Catholics or Protestants, now you can see Orthodox Christians there also. So it's really fascinating to go on in this journey to explore the communities that are around the world.
Yeah. I think also, I think maybe my bias of where Orthodox Christians live comes from, again, because I grew up in such an Orthodox community that I used to think that the faith of the Orthodox was like such a limited and Ethiopian thing, where so it kind of catches me off guard when I meet Orthodox Christians from quite a number of places. I think campus did that to me, where some people would be like, "Oh, are you Ethiopian?" Like, I'm Orthodox. So I'm like, "What? Why are you Orthodox?" Like, how did you get to meet the church, and how did you get to be part of it as well? And just kind of hearing everybody's story of how they've discovered the church on their own way is really, really awesome to see. So part of the work you guys do also is, you know, reestablishing some of the communities that have maybe disappeared or having a hard time navigating the world. And I know you all have done quite a lot of work with Western Rite Orthodox churches. Could you tell us a bit about what the Western Rite Orthodox churches are, what the work that you've done, and any stories that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, sure. That was, as you asked about research, then this particular research that of Western Rite Orthodox Christians, that was one of the greatest projects that we have done up to this. Yeah. And there, what I like to particularly mention is about its outcome, where we have published 2 of our books. That is Western Rite of Orthodox Christians Part 1 and Part 2. And this particular project was under the name of Mar Alvarius Julius Research Project. So Mar Alvarius Julius was the first person who came out from the Catholic Church against the propaganda, Pedro Vadro challenges that they were having then between the king who was having the rule and with the Pope. So they were having fight. If you read the Catholic history, you know about these things. So he was a person who was in Goa, particularly in Goa, and he has faithfuls there in Brahmawad, where you are at present you are watching inside of the church in Brahmawad. That's Brahmawad Cathedral. So there were people in different parts, and there were a lot of people who came from Catholic Church, and even in Sri Lanka too, there were quite a good number of people, but majority of them, because of some of their own issues, or after the period of Mar Alvarius Julius, you can see that they were not having a particular good leadership for this particular group. So many of them returned back to Catholic Church and to their other faith. But we try to reinvent those areas where people were there. Particularly, we were able to find peoples in these Western Rite old believers there in a few parts of eastern side of India. In addition, we were also able to find more families who were once related with Mar Alvario Julius or this Brahmavar community in Sri Lanka. In addition, we were also able to research on or to find again those communities that these Western rites were having there in America. Once there was a big movement there in America where these Catholics or the Protestants started to join Orthodox faith. Like they corrected their own faith, but they still started to they still remained in their own practices that were Western. So that's why it's known as Western Rite. So we were able to find few communities there in US, in France, in Canada, and these were the communities that we could refine or re-excavate on, and we could study. We studied a lot. So I can't end this particular session or this particular question without mentioning those two people who had given a lot of time into this particular project. That is Dr. Ajay Philip and George Alexander, who was our former secretary. So both of them were the forerunners in this particular project, and we had a small research team like that of 4 to 5 people. They were the people who control this particular project. As I have already mentioned, each people in ORCP who comes to the organization, who works with the organization, have their own defined works. So these were the researchers who have done, and they were able to find these communities and to make papers, to make information, to find new informations about what's happened then. Many of the things were not public, or many of the information were lacking about these communities who once came to Orthodox faith. So we were able to find these things, and it was really big success because we were able to find a lot. And now this Western Rite project is in a phase of developing or for converting it to a larger one. We also know that there were some Western Rite communities there in Philippines, in some other parts of Asia, in Europe, and also we are in a process to find all those and to enlarge this particular project.
Yeah, and with these projects, as I'm finding out more and more about it, we know that at the beginning of the disciples traveling to Asia, right? A lot of the Asia, what we consider Asia now, used to be Orthodox land. So to be able to rediscover these and try to rediscover the histories and write books about it and just introduce the rest of the world to that struggle and faith and community is really beautiful to know, because usually it's just you hear it in passing, but the information is not readily available. And to be able to, for you guys to be able to collect all that information and have it readily available for us to consume and learn from and grow as a Christian and as a community as well. With that in mind, kind of similar to the earlier discussion we were having, we talked about what are some of the difficulties that churches are going through that you could see, overall. But could you also maybe touch on, along with, this churches and these rediscoveries that you guys are working on, what are some of the solutions to issues that churches have found that you wish other churches knew about? Right, like we said, our issues tend to be a lot more similar than different. What can we learn from each other that you've seen projects or works that work really well for other church communities?
Particularly as you go in search of issues that are commonly faced by majority of the Orthodox churches, you can see some like persecution is there on one side. That's happening in Ethiopia, Coptic, Eritrea, and I also like to mention here about Montenegro, Kosovo, and all those states where Orthodox Christians are also, once they were persecuted in Armenia also, and now also they are having some issues with them, like that of state government. And common issues that are that we face, or the Orthodox world face at present, or the churches face at present, is high political interventions. I have already mentioned about it, then I forgot to give some examples to you. Some pure examples for some highly political intervention is, I mean, our organization have worked there and found enough data for that. So I may say that Eritrea, where you can see much political intervention into the church. And on the other side, you can also see some places like that present day Ukraine. There we are having a very big issue between Russian Orthodox Church and Constantinople Patriarchate. So there also its issue is particularly on political. It's not like that of having an autocephaly for a local church. It's political issues. So intervention of politics, that's the biggest issue here. On the other side, you can also see some other churches, and I like to give my own example. From Malangara, we don't care that much on political interventions. We don't have that much interventions, as we are a small community here in India. That's maybe one of the cause, but we don't entertain more into it. And on the other side, you have mentioned numerous time about ambassadors visiting Coptic Pope. Similarly, ambassadors from different regions or the countries also visit places like that of Russia, Russian Orthodox Patriarch, His Holiness Kirill. He has met many ambassadors from many places. You can see the same in Serbia, and also few churches are having that particular status of, as you see, you know about the thing in Russia and Serbia and all. It's the majority there. Even in Armenia also, you can see the Orthodox Christians are in majority. So there, these churches get the immunities from the government, like they get this delegation from foreign nations coming up to them and meeting them and talking with them and discussing the things around the world with them. So you can see that. And on the other side, as I have already talked with you once, I am really I don't know how in Ethiopia these things are not happening well. Once we used to see updates about Abuna Matthias visiting Serbian ambassador, Russian ambassador, and all. But on the other side, we couldn't find any other things. And as you mentioned, we also had some issues recently related to Mescal Square and all. So I will give this examples that of Russian and Serbian, where they cordially work with even Coptic Church. I was really amused to hear that Abdul Fattah al-Sisi, the president, Egyptian president, have even asked the administration, local administration, to help Coptic Church build churches in the new cities that he is planning to build, or the new city that that he is building in Egypt. So these type of positive things are happening, and those things should be modeled, or should be copied if possible to other churches to get good stand of themselves. And we also face some other issues like that of administrative issues. Many churches are facing these administrative issues. As you come to this particular administration, I will give example of Romanian Orthodox Church. Its administration is excellent. We have written a book on this particular church, and there you can see a particular model of administration where everything is well managed and well divided. So there is nothing like administrative failure there. Even you can see the same in Russian Orthodox Church too. But on the other side, administrative imbalances and administrative issues can be seen in some other churches, some other Orthodox churches. On other side, we have also seen that numerous cases that of financial allegations related to financial issues inside the church, and the same is also well managed by some other churches. And these are the common issues that we face at present. And much commonly, there is another issue that we face at present, that is that of what do you say for that? disparity between the church and the youths at the present in the modern era. You can see that much youths are not interested to go to these traditional Orthodox churches, and they are much interested to go to new generation churches where they profess some other type of theology or the principles that are against the basic structures of orthodoxy. So we are also facing this detachment of youths in each church. I have found this common issue in many church, and those issues has to be taken up by the administration or by the church administrative to do the same. As one of the comments is, there is not just theologically, if you allow me to say, there are also issues inside the church between its ethnicities. So majority of Orthodox churches are concentrated to ethnic groups or the ethnicities. So it don't allow other ethnicity to come into it or to differ from this ethnic feeling, because Orthodoxy itself thinks that Orthodoxy is an ethnicity. So these issues are there. On the other side, we can also see that few issues inside the churches, like that you see in Ukraine, that like you see in different administrative structures in Armenian church, where you can see Echmiad, Cilicia, Jerusalem, and Constantinople having issues between each other. Orthodox churches are having many issues, but majority of them are well and properly managed by its administration with its leaders. And on the other side, I can also see some issues that are not well managed and still ruining the church one day to other by taking out the bricks from the church, building of the church, the foundation of the church.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I think one of our viewers was also pointing out that, the youth feeling disconnected as part of the issue of the big church. And I think I'm just going to pick on that real quick, and I want to get your feedback as well. Sometimes it feels like, because the Orthodox Church is very strict. And the world that they live in especially has become so connected, and everything is readily available, and the idea of moral values becoming blurry, and what's acceptable and what's not is becoming really blurry. And it always makes me wonder, and just kind of to get your opinion on this, how much of it is the church's responsibility in making sure that, yes, we do have an ancient faith. Yes, we do have a lot of rules and regulations that seem like they're suffocating until you really understand why they're there. And it takes a minute to know why these things are there for you to mature and to grow and experience life, right? And so how much of it is the church's responsibility, and how much of it is the community or the parents' responsibility in making sure that the youth stays in the church? Because like you said, this is an issue with almost all of the Orthodox churches across.
What I see at present is Orthodox churches are ready to adopt to the present situations. Like if there is some issues in some of these stronghold thoughts of the church, they are ready to ease it. But on the other side, it should be understood that Orthodoxy is a way of life. It's a particular pathway or the principle that it put forward. Many of the rules that are given in this church, I think it should be discussed in theological level and all more, other than that of our, like the things that we do or we share. And these things has to be periodically revised or to be considered by the leaders, and these are the areas that they have to work on, in addition to building up the church and building up the communication with other communities. And these are some issues that are going on, and that are making some ill response to the among youths and some other people. As you ask me about a clear view on this, I'm little bit confused about what to express on this particular topic. It's better that we make a talk on these type of issues with those who deal with these things, like that of church law and theology and all. And what we profess, as we see in present situation, we can see that people are ready to take these rules or ready to follow these. In the parts where these orthodoxy was not even known, people are coming to the Orthodox Church with these with considering these principles and faiths. So it's happening a lot. It's really great to see this.
Yeah, absolutely.
That there are changes, but let me make it clearly that our organization don't deal particularly with this. I think that you understand that.
Yes,
And in my
specifically.
opinion, in my personal,
Yeah.
it was my personal opinion. It's not organization opinion, but it should be done in the hierarchy level,
Yeah.
with the consensus from the ladies and the faithfuls.
Absolutely. And we'll, as we wrap up, I think we'll tell our viewers are asking where they can find your the work and the books, but I think we'll come back to that. Let me go back to you personally again. What do you love about the Orthodox Church?
The majority, the main thing that I love about Orthodox Church is through this particular faith, I am able to make more connectivity throughout the world.
Mhm.
I am a postgraduate. I mean, I am doing my post graduation in diplomacy and international relations. So it's helping me a lot. This particular orthodoxy or the pan-orthodox movements or pan-orthodox platforms have given me a extra view or extra insight for me into this world. And I'm as I mentioned, the main thing that I love about this is the commonality among the liturgy. Our Orthodox Church is having much commonality. Even if you check the Byzantine liturgy with that of Oriental liturgy, you can see that it's similar. They do the similar thing. So those songs, it's really um, it's really a different experience. And the most particular thing that I love about is building up this network throughout the world. Wherever you go, you can find an Orthodox Christian. So this orthodoxy has given me the freedom to connect as many areas, as many people as possible. So wherever you go, you can find a brother or sister there.
Yeah.
who are identical to you. You and your faith. So it's really that's the greatest essence of this orthodoxy. That's my personal opinion.
I love it. Even what you said earlier was really beautiful. And it's Orthodoxy is a way of life. And it really is a way of life because there's a certain tradition that comes along with it, a community that comes along with it. And again, organizations like yours, another one that strictly works on the theology aspect of it is Ancient Faith Radio, where, you know, you realize how, like, part of the world, like so many Orthodox churches are, how many followers there are, and how you could literally, like you said, you could go anywhere. These days when I travel, even from state to state, I look up churches, and I don't mind if it's like, you know, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church or any other ones. You just show up, and people are so lovely, and the liturgy is so similar, especially the ones that do liturgy in English. I like, you know, our interpreter is like, we're saying the same things. The prayers are the same. So there's like unity, comfort that you feel in being part of this community and part of this way of life. That's organization like yours is highlighting very, very well. I'm just reading some of the comments our viewers are sharing with us. You know, they're appreciating the great service that you all do. And being thankful how and saying this work is really what's needed, and it's for the generations to come as well. Some of it is in Amharic, so just kind of translating that. Could you tell
if there are any type of questions to me, I am ready to take those. If there is any questions on the side, I am also looking to monitor where I can see these comments and all. But I have not seen any questions. If there is any questions to me in Amharic or anything, I can answer for that if that's related to Pan-Orthodoxy or to our particular our organization.
Yeah.
and then we will come to the wrap up if it is allowed.
Yeah,
if it is allowed.
allowed. So as we see people have questions, go ahead and drop those questions for us. But in the meantime, I know you sent me some pictures of the books, but I seem to not be able to get to them right now. Could you tell us?
If you wait for me, I will just show you some of the books that we have published. Just a second.
Okay.
Just a second.
Okay, but could you?
lang virose kapdi zalyan to pavitre garz matecha drustin sera podlalo zaite fadke re shipka Uzbon सगळ्यान विस्तारतात भागी रावसो सतांत आराम थावन अखेर पर्यंत
Barakmo Santa Paulano Timothy.
This particular liturgical part that you heard, it's from Brahmavar, and the language that is used there, that's entirely different from what we use in our liturgy. As you have Geese and you have Amharic and different languages, we also have these differences in languages. Few use Hindi, few use Malayalam, few use English, and this Brahmava community, they use Konkani. And there are in Malankara Church, we can see that it's multilingual too. You can see many languages used. So as you have asked about the books, then I will show you some of the books. One of the main books or the bestseller of all times is our book is that of Orthodox Dilemma, where we wrote about issues in Orthodox world. And that particular book that's available free now. If you just send a direct message to any of our social medias, we are happy to give away that particular free copies to you. So it was then published in year 2010 by our then Secretary George Alexander, and he was behind the book. There we have discussed about each and every issues in this Orthodox world. So after that came this particular project that I have already mentioned, that's about Western Rite of Syrian Malankara Orthodox Church. This was the first book, and this was the second book. So this was like in a series. First after the second one after the first. So here these two books are all about Western Rite. So these are you can buy these anywhere. You can see this in Amazon. You can see this in Flipkart. Everywhere you can see the same. And it's all about Western rites or Western Rite Orthodox churches that came into Orthodoxy, Western Rite churches. And this is another research that is all about Malankara. I mean, more concentrated on here on Malankara, what's happening in Malankara. And this is little bit more historical one. So it's deal with the ancient stories or ancient history about the church. So these are the main books. And in addition, we particularly do online publication. We don't do this physical in print publication. We do print in demand publication. So you can, as you go to our sites and all, you can see our publications there. In addition, I will complete that last question too.
Yeah.
This is our website, orthodoxsociety.ocbsociety.org. This is our present site. Before few months, we were working in another website in the name the orthodoxchurch.info, and now we have shifted all of our works to ocbsociety.org. In addition, we are having our own YouTube channel where you can find some recent programs like that. We had a roundtable conference or roundtable communication with Reverend Father Stefan of Russian Orthodox Church External Church Relations Department, and we are also coming up with weekly news updates there in our YouTube channel. In addition, we also have our own Facebook handle, Twitter handle. We have our Telegram channel. We have our Vimo channel. Also, we are available in a majority of all social medias, and you can reach there. If you need any type of help from us or need any type of resources from us, feel free to directly message to us. We are also there in Instagram. So wherever you go, you can see OCP's handle there, and you can reach us through that. And that's all about our where you can find works of OCP. In addition, these books you can find, these publications or these books you can find in Amazon, in Flipkart, in Lulu Books International. You can see everywhere in those type of online platforms.
I think what we'll do is you can send me the Amazon links for these books, and I'll attach it to the description of this YouTube video, so our viewers, after the show is over, could go back in and check to see which books they want to buy and such. I have one question.
I think if I think a few others from my organization are already here in this live, and if they are able to attach the links as soon as possible, they can do it in live chat so that they can help me in the same. Well, I think someone from there will do it. So it was really a great time with you for this particular conversation. I don't know about whether this have come up in a way that you were expecting or we expected. And in addition, I don't know about how my voice clarity or audio clarity or the things that I told, whether that was having a good clarity or was clear to you all. And from our secretariat and from our executive committee, they have asked me to thank Adebabay Media for giving this particular window towards us, or giving this particular featuring to us. And we are much happy to do this. And through this, we are focusing more on to connect more people, or to make our work to reach more people. So these type of cooperations with, or these type of understanding with media houses like that of Adebabay Media will help us in our work, and in addition to whatever we are doing. As you know, we are not we don't have anything like that of subscriptions or external funding towards our program. So it's all done internally now, and in future we may find the subscriptions plans and all. At present, it's open to everyone. Anyone can reach our portal and get the resources. We have not made any type of restrictions in it, and the financial support that we get is through our publications and through our research. So we are really thankful for these type of windows that give a reach for us. That should be mentioned. And I am really grateful for you, sister, for taking up this particular mission, and looking forward for more similar sessions like this. And I am much happy to talk. I mean, I am much happy if I talk to more people, like to bring up their own questions to me and to ask them. So feel free to connect us or to message us in any other platforms. We will come and reach to you, and let's know how you can also help us, our organization. If any one of you who is hearing this particular live session, you like to join our mission, you can do it. You can do it through our through a direct message to any of our social media handles, and we are much thankful. Thank you. We are much grateful for this Adebabay Media, and it's all the people who are working under this. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. I think we have a comment here. I have two comments I'm going to read for you, and then one question that came in. I only saw one question, so I hope I didn't miss anything. Hannah Gabre Selassie says, we thank you to brother for enlightening us about what is going on around the world when it comes to Orthodoxy. I personally learned a lot. Thank you, OCP. Another comment that she also dropped in is, the only thing that is unique the one thing that is unique about Orthodoxy is our icons and our churches. One can really see the difference between the churches, which I thought was such a beautiful observation, because you definitely could tell the different icons and how it's run. And
but in the case of iconography, we Orthodox churches believe in iconography. We don't believe in realistic images. So wherever you go, where in any of these Orthodox churches that you go, you can see iconography, but you can see its particular features that are special to that on tradition or to that on area. In addition to these works we are doing, we are also promoting a lot on iconography, and we have also tried to make some iconographical images of the people that were not in our hand. Like, we were not having a few icons of few saints in around the world, so we were also able to make those. We have a specialized artist department or iconographers department in our organization, where trained iconographers work on it. So wherever we go for our visit and all, mutual visit and all, we used to give those icons to them. That's what we do.
I think it would definitely be, I think we figured out our next session. It would be really amazing to learn about the different iconographies of the different churches. I know here on Adebabay, I think last week we had a show about how the iconographs are drawn, what kind of colors are chosen and where, and who could draw that and how to, and it was really amazing to learn the details behind it. So I think our viewers will also appreciate knowing at least a couple of other churches and how the icons are, created and drawn as well. Another question, I want to ask if there are any Ethiopian saints in Indian church like Abune Takle Haimanot. So I think Lul is asking about like patron churches.
It's more about saints and all. We in Indian church, in Malangara church, we have our own saints, our own announced saints or the proclaimed saints that are done by our Holy Synod, have done those procedures, and we have three saints who are from India that we consider the main. The first among them is, or the oldest one, the oldest announced saint is Saint Gregorius of Parimala, or Saint Gregorius of India, who is Donn. And if you ask about whether we have saints that are similar to Ethiopian church, we have few saints that are in general. I know about Saint George. That's widely everywhere. Every Orthodox church, there you can see Saint George as the main saint. Even I am a son of Saint George. My birth name is George, and we have all these common Orthodox saints on the other side. These particular saints like that of Takle Haimanot, or that of those early fathers who came to Ethiopia to spread the religion. I think they are known 8 in number. What are they known? I mean, I can't get that particular word that you use.
The 9 saints.
9 saints. We do, that's a particular. Many of the saints that you see in Orthodoxy that are particular to their own church or to the region. So that's the common thing, and we also have some common saints like that of Saint Basil, Saint John the Chrysostom, Saint Gregorios, Nicaea, and Saint. We have many those early church fathers. We have those in common, and in the later stage, we don't have common saints, but we venerate them also. Like, if Ethiopian church consider one particular saint, we also consider that person as saint. Even even Byzantine church do the same. Like, they don't have any biasness in the case of saints. We agree to the other churches if they have saints. Like there is one interesting story. If you ask me, like, if the time allows me, I will do that. So our former Catholic Basilios Marthoma Paulos II, he passed away in 2021 in July 12th. He passed away from us. He once went to Russia, and there he visited Patriarch Kirill of Moscow and all. And he was also fortunate to visit some monasteries. And one of the monastery was that of Saint Matrona. She is a female saint. She is much popular there in Russia, Saint Matrona. And the thing what this our Catholicos have done is he was really fascinated with the life of this particular saint, and he brought down the icons from there about this of this particular saint, and he also teased us about. He also wrote about this particular saint in saint to us, and he also wrote a prayer in our own language to this particular saint. So these type of sharing is happening there. So there are common things, common church fathers, there are scenes, and on the later stage you can see that are extreme that are exclusive for that on tradition or the religion, to the region. And I also think that one of our delegate has already sent those links of the books under this comment box.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'll also collect these and drop them in the description box as well. Thank you so much for being here. It took us a while to get here and get this going, and I really appreciate all the work that you all do, and our viewers really appreciate that you coming out. I know it's really late for you in India, and being able to have this conversation. Like we said, we shared the website. From the website, you can find all the other social media networks that they are part of. I personally use the Telegram group that you all have, just because you drop every information that we ever need, from the articles, the news, the journalism, to the YouTube conversations that you have. So that's my venue if people are interested in that. Thank you again for being here and sharing this amazing work that y'all are doing. If you have any last words you want to add, I'll give you the floor. If not, we could bid our viewers goodbye.
Sure. I just like to add one thing. You just mentioned about late night here. I don't care this. For our particular organization's work, we used to work in any time where the other side of the world will be awake in that time. We may work in that time also. We have delegates from that side also now. So for communication and all, we need it. I remember on last Wednesday or Thursday when Abuna Antonios passed away from us, I was there in a live which held in here local time was around 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And it's part of our organization. We do this, and every delegate among our organization do this. They don't consider this time frame because this is the mission. So for this mission, for the information that people need, we need to get rid of these time frames and all. So that's what we do. And as the end note, I am very thankful once again for Adebabay Media and for you, sister, for taking this particular initiative. And once again, thanking you all the viewers who are there with us. And as I have already mentioned, if you would like to know more about our organization, or if you have any doubts about our organization, feel free to reach us through our social media handles and through other things. Wishing you a good day. And if you are watching from Ethiopia, wishing you a good night, and see you all soon. We'll keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and thank you for being here with us. Have a good day and night, as he said. Goodbye.
Bye.